Good morning, everybody. My name is Angelou, and I came here today because I wanted to talk to you all about the importance of your work. You see, the arts have always been a huge part of my life. Since the time I was a small child, poetry, writing, dancing, and singing have always been a phenomenal part of my being. It's always given me great joy to be able to put words on paper, to memorize the words of those who've gone before me, and to lay a foundation for those who will come after. So I come here today to tell you how important your work is. Counseling, art therapy, how it's been important in my life, and how I know that all of you are going to lay a foundation for those in the future. And how each one of you is going to play a part in telling someone's story and encouraging our future young people struggling, dealing with oppressions, dealing with discriminations, how you are going to be a change agent in their lives. I want to thank you all for your time today, and let's talk about art therapy a little bit. So, as I mentioned, from the time I was a small child, writing has always been a very profound element for me to express myself. Growing up, I lived with my grandmother because my mother, bless her heart, she was not very much of a mothering figure. She was a wonderful person, don't get me wrong, but I was an abandoned child, myself and my brother Bailey. She was a wonderful person, but I don't think she was equipped to be a mother to young people. She didn't like children, so she sent us to go live with my grandmother. I was born in Missouri, but my grandmother was in Stamps, Arkansas. So when we went to stay with her, there was a lot of changes that went with that, particularly racism that I started to encounter as a small child. And again, it was through words, through poetry, that I could escape the environment around me. My grandmother was a wonderful inspiration for me because she would say, "Sister, you don't have to worry about what others tell you. You are strong. You are courageous. You are going to be an agent of change." I have to give honor and glory to my grandmother because it was through her love that I first understood the inner strength that I had. It was through her love that I knew I could be something great. And that unconditional love that she had for me and my brother gave me the strength through difficult times, especially in my childhood. At the age of 8 years old, when I visited my mother back in St. Louis, Missouri, her boyfriend at the time raped me. And in that time, because of the courage that my grandmother had instilled in me, I spoke out about my accuser. As a result, he was convicted, but in that time he was released because women didn't have much of a voice. It's still hard for me to admit this because for a long time I blamed myself. But my uncles, my grandmother's sons, beat and murdered that man. And I blamed myself for that. It was never my intention to see his end, to be the cause of his death. And after that, I was mute for 5 years, until around the age of 13, when my brother Bailey finally coaxed me into words. But during that time, instead of talking, I used the different parts of my brain for memory. You see, I didn't have to use those parts of the brain to communicate. So the part of the brain that's used in memory became strengthened. And that's when I started to memorize poetry, Shakespeare. Loved his work. I would memorize sonnets, I would memorize different speeches from those characters I admired in stories. And I would be able to pull from them whenever I was feeling hurt or damaged or discriminated against. I remember one time we were in Baltimore. From May to December of that year, we visited all parts of Baltimore. But the only part I can tell you today that I remember is when we were walking down the street. I looked at a little white girl and I smiled at her. And she stuck her tongue out at me and said, "Nigger." That's my only memory of Baltimore. But words, poetry, the words expressed on the written page saved my life. Every moment I had free time, I'd be writing something. Wasn't always good, never always something good, but putting the pen to paper, that was what gave me strength. So I advocate for the arts. I advocate for the human condition, be it equal rights for women of color, men of color, gays, any minority groups. I advocate for them because we are all part of the human condition. And in that, we must stand up for one another, love one another, and embrace one another. I would say that I'm a religious woman, but my religion is more spiritual. Again, I don't discriminate against those who are different from myself, who believe differently from myself. But I can tell you that I can see into each one of you and see the talents that each one of you possesses, and know that each one of you has something to give in this world. That's what I advocate for, the human condition that we all share. So I come to you today to tell you, have courage. This is not an easy profession. Counseling, art therapy, you're going to deal with some of the harshest of human conditions. You're going to deal with some of the deepest pains that we have in this world. But you are going to be their strength. Through your words, through the practices that you have in your art therapy sessions or counseling sessions, you are going to be the encouragement, the courage to bring out of those people that you serve. So I tell you today, I believe courage is the most important virtue. Because the others, loving, kindness, generosity, they're all conditional. You see, I can choose today to be loving, and then tomorrow I can face a challenge and feel negative and lose my loving. But with courage, courage is that consistent virtue that enables the other virtues to be and to stay within yourselves. So have courage, my friends, and know that what you're doing here today, what you will be doing in the future, is very valuable. I want to also speak of talents. You see, in my lifetime, I've had many careers. I started off as a streetcar driver. I was actually the first in New York City, first African-American streetcar driver who was female. After that, I decided to take up dancing. And I did a lot of stage performances. I also participated in directing and writing for plays. That was the best I could ever do. So much fun. But that wasn't all I wanted to do. See, I believe that you can be a jack of all trades or a mistress of all trades. I don't believe in the concept of master of none. With learning, through dedication, you can embrace any talent you want. Anything that your heart desires to do, you can do. working to be. Before I go, I do want to share with you an excerpt from one of my poems. This one is called Still I Rise, and I share this with you today to impart that strength and courage upon all of you. Because again, this is a very difficult field that we are embarking upon. We are going to be dealing with the deepest and darkest parts of the human condition. And you have to have courage in it. So let me share with you. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may tread me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I got oil wells pumping in my living room. Jump like moons and like suns, with the sincerity of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hand, hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines in my backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from the past that roots in pain, I rise. I'm a vast ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. I rise. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts of my ancestors, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, and yet again I will rise. So ladies and gentlemen, today I tell you, have courage. Rise up. Take that dream, those talents within all of you. Embrace them. Don't ever feel like you can only focus on one of them. Take them all in. Rise above. Have courage. This is a difficult field you're embarking on. But I see in every single one of you the strength